Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Hovolution channel. Uh, Today we're doing something kind of strange and lazy, but it should be fun regardless. Remember way back in the old me and Mafifa where I had that weird spree of like 4 videos where I would talk about reviewing a show, then I would watch the show and then make a little review about it, and that would be like 4 videos in one day. Yeah, I'm not gonna do anything that stupid, but I didn't hate the concept entirely. So we're gonna kind of bring that back for an interesting movie that I wanted to watch, regardless, and I think it'd be fun for me to talk about it in the end because there's no way it won't be interesting. So during my research for the Solanine video, I discovered that the director of the movie also directed the movie adaptation of Kids on the Slope, which is one of my favorite animes. Never read the manga for that one, but I love the anime. It's amazing. It's excellent. So I'm really curious to watch this movie. It also, I kind of wanted to talk about Kids on the Slope as well a little bit, which we can get into later on because it will have to be said how this compares to the show, of course, for a future video, and it'll probably be made later in the month that will involve some things I have to talk about with the director of Kids on the Slope, Shinichiro Watanabe, Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo fame. So I'm gonna go watch this film, and then I'll come back and we can talk about it. Okay, bye. Alright, so I just watched the movie and took some time to collect my thoughts and go over some stuff in the anime to kind of remember how to compare these two. But first, before I just jump right into the movie itself and all the various scatterbrained thoughts I have about it, I figure it's only fair to divide the discussion I'm going to have into primary topics. The first being the movie just as a movie, like not compared to anything else. Like if you were to just watch this film without any knowledge that it, has anything to do with an anime and manga, is it good? Like, does it work? Short answer, hell yeah. Like, it's really solid. This is kind of making me more intrigued about this director because he seems to be quite skilled at adapting anime into movies. And I think, I don't know, it's hard to say. You'd have to do more research into, like, the man himself, and I just haven't done that research yet into the director of Solanine and Kids on the Slope. You'd have to really like delve into like how he made these movies. Were these like, because I get the feeling that these were kind of movies that how should I say this? They were kind of picked by a big old production company, and they were like, oh, we can make money off this probably. What I'm saying is that I doubt these were picked because of one particular director's vision wanting to adapt it into film. I mean, it might be that way, but I imagine this guy's just a skillful director who knows he's particularly very good at this kind of style. Taking something from a different medium and adapting it into the medium of film. I say that because in both cases, Solanine and Kids on the Slope, this director is excellent at picking out the things that need to stay, cutting the things that need to be dropped. And I think he's very good at taking the scalpel to, beloved things. Like, he cuts out some things in Solanine that aren't, like, super important. I mean, I like them, but of course, but, like, they're not important. And it's a 2-hour movie, you gotta, like, kind of get to the point of things. But he also extends things, I think, that are more important. Like, those music scenes in that movie are very lengthy and powerful because of that. And he takes the exact same approach with Kids on the Slope. Very comparable movies, obviously, because they are same director. They seem to have like a similar ambition and budget. This actually looks like it had a bit more put into it in terms of like production value than Solanine, but regardless, like they're just very comparable. They also are very music focused, and yeah, I think he's just a very good director, especially when it comes again to those music scenes. In Solanine, those live performance scenes were excellent every time. They were directed very well, mostly because I think he just gave a lot of faith in he had a lot of faith in the actors to just play the parts really well. Now in Kids on the Slope, I think it's a similar situation. Like he cuts a lot of the little sub narratives and things that just don't matter that much. In fact, there's an entire like character arc that doesn't really matter that much in the end, and this is also true in the anime. I'm not gonna get into spoilers, or I'm not even gonna get into like the specifics of it because
It's just it's not necessary. There are just some characters in the film that don't even really need to be there. They only flesh out some other things for the three main characters, and those two characters that barely are in the movie, barely need to be in the movie. They even have like other characters attached to them that weren't in the film at all. And there are a couple other characters in the anime that aren't around. And I'm already kind of mixing up the next topic. I just want to judge this movie as a movie, but I'm saying it just, as a conceptual level, this director is quite excellent at deciding like, okay, I need to do this to make sure the movie makes sense on its own. I'm not going to put scenes in just because they are like iconic. I'm putting scenes in because they need to be in here to work as a film. And I think just on that level, I think he did an amazing job. The impact of the story and what it means, and the themes that the tale has are all very they're very well told. It's the best way to say it. Of course, the acting. I'm beginning to wonder if this is just a Japanese trend. The acting is very over the top again. I think it works a little less well in this movie than in Solonin, because Solonin is so grounded that I don't know. The acting came across as like it's not even acting; they're just talking like real people in Solonin. Kids on the Slope is a little more like they're a little over the top. Like the characters are just they're a little much. The drummer especially can just be a little like you can tell he's playing up a character, which is fine because it fits, but it's just it doesn't always hit in all the scenes. And the main character as well, the black haired kid, he's also very hit or miss. I find because I think he's intentionally trying to be sullen. He's not trying to speak. He's trying to hold his feelings in, and that comes across in his acting pretty well. But it's just not quite as good as I've seen the acting in this director's other films so far, anyway. But I still think it works really well. I don't think this is an amazing movie. It doesn't blow my mind, but it does what it needs to do right, and that is the performance scenes. Holy goddamn, these are exactly as good as I wanted them to be. These are just excellent. My only complaint is that I wish there was a little less cutting, but maybe this is just the nature of the practice required to be able to play music of this proficiency, like in a movie like this. Like in Solonin, I mean, to be fair, I mean they do play the instruments and they do play them accurately. There's a very famous, I don't know if it's famous, but I've seen it and it had a decent amount of views. There's a video of like someone doing like a cell phone recording of the live performance at the end of Solonin. You can tell like because of that, like they just played the whole thing, like the whole performance actually real, and they show that in the film. And in this case, you can definitely tell that they weren't doing that. They were not going for like the one take, like do a real performance in these scenes kind of thing. I think they do a good job hiding it, but you just don't have. It's very rare you can play jazz music proficiently at all. It's even rarer that you get a drummer of this technical ability who can keep time well, and a pianist who can improvise in this way. And what I'm saying is that the only actual way to like make a genuine performance out of this would be to not even necessarily practice like a written piece of music. It would actually just to improvise the performance like from scratch every time, like they actually are, narratively doing in the story. Like the two characters are narratively doing that, which is a little unreasonable because jazz is, oh god, is it hard. That's why I think the music is so incredible in this film. Like, and I mean, in the anime as well. And I guess we might as well talk about that now. Do I think the anime is better? Yeah, it is. It is better, but it's a little more close than you would think. I love the anime. I love what it goes for. I love its ambition, and the ballsiness of its story is really excellent. But it's also a little melodramatic, and a lot of the scenes can go on for too long. Or not even specific scenes, just like arcs and stories between the characters are just they drone on forever and ever, and that's actually the biggest like benefit of the movie over the anime. The melodrama and the love triangle stuff that can go on throughout the narrative is a lot less frustrating in the movie because it's moving so quickly. I think the main theme of the story, which is like the inability to communicate your thoughts and feelings with words, and only being able to communicate them with music. Like that's like the main purpose of the film. Like there's something beyond words, about playing jazz together, for the two main characters, and it's just a quaint little story about that. And I just think that all the other stuff that gets in between the music can drag down the story at times, unfortunately. And I think that's just less true in the movie. Not that I think all the melodrama is unnecessary. It's obviously very important. It almost makes me think like I think this tale comes from a place of like sincerity, like realistic sincerity from the creator of the manga, which this is all based off of, which I haven't read. It comes from a place of like realism and sincerity for him, but I don't necessarily think that makes it the most like relatable story. Like if you understand what I mean by that, like you have to have a very specific set of experiences in like your adolescence for this to be relatable. And even if it is relatable, it's probably going to come across more like cringe and kind of upsetting. Like it's like, oh, kids, don't be dumb, stop being dumb, kids. Talk about your feelings, don't be stupid to each other. Like it's the kind of it's the same reasons melodrama can typically frustrate older people, right? But the satisfying part of the story, and spoilers ahead if you haven't seen Kids on the Slope, please go do that. It's a really amazing series. It's really great. The most satisfying part of all the melodrama in Kids on the Slope is that like it all just gets like washed away in the last episode, and the last moments of the movie, because we fast forward 10 years, as the characters have drifted apart and they don't know each other anymore, and they finally run into each other again. They just play a final song, and it's like they never left. Like, oh, it's so fantastic, and you can see in their playing, like hear in their playing and see that in their movement, that it's not just that they're, oh, we're so happy we can play together. It's, wow, wasn't it stupid that we let all that bullshit from back then in our lives interfere with our love for playing music together. It's a really beautiful tale, when you boil it down like that. It's just that at times I wish that the anime wasn't 12 episodes long, or it might be 13, 12 or 13. No, it's 12. I kind of wish it was like 6 or 7 episodes, because man, is there just a lot of stuff that does not need to be in there. There's if I remember correctly, there's like a whole sub narrative of like one of the characters being in like a communist revolution. Like what why is this in the story? It's funny because I think there is a reason for things like that to be in there. The stories and stuff that the side characters have, because it is a movie all about, and a series all about communication, and communication through song, and other expression. But I just don't think that this is the most, shall I say, like objectively perfect way of doing that. I think this kind of story could be done better. I've just never seen anyone try, because it is extremely difficult. I mean, I don't imagine this story working very well as a manga, similar to the reason I think the Solenian movie is so much better than the manga, because of the music. If you don't have the music in there, I mean, you're missing out on a lot by not having the music in this story. I think the live performances in the anime are, like, they're very impressive to look at, but it almost makes you feel like this is so well animated and it's rotoscoped and stuff. I almost just wish they would have made it live action, which this movie does a pretty fair job of, of making me feel like, oh, we're finally getting the thing I wanted in the first place. It's certainly not quite as good as I would have hoped. Though the performance sections could have been better, the acting could have been better, the directing could have been better. It's not as great as it could be, but in a way that's almost, I don't know. Kids on the Slope is always very like, it's not as good as it could be, is like the whole message of that's like you could say that about like its entire existence. Like that's that right there is the whole theme of Kids on the Slope, in a way. But I think that's also why I'm drawn to it, and I love it as much as I do. Like, it's a very imperfect story, and no matter what medium it's told in, you get that sense that it's like, this is so close to being a masterpiece, but it's just a little bit off. But hey, I still love it. Alright, that's enough movies for now. I probably won't do another one of these in the month, but hey, it was a good time. Join me tomorrow for more Hovolution. Just let it end. Just let me end. Just kill me. Just please. It's almost there. I'm almost done. We're like way over halfway done at this point. I just want it to end. What if I could just fast forward? Do you think I can just like? What if I just upload like, I don't know, a vlog every day until the end of the month? That would be funny. What am I talking about?